affair in the quarterfinal of the in the round of 16 of the FA Cup. We'll go through all of the fixtures, that we saw yesterday when the draws was made. Akintayo, you were missing in action yesterday, so we forgive you. Has been your day. I know the times are tough right now. Hey, you cannot see. This is the worst time to get your phone stolen or get your phone damaged. It's a bad time.
Well, it happens. It happens. Inevitably, it happens, and it's just one of those times. It's been a long day. Had to go to retrieve my SIM and having to be in studio in time. It's been a whole lot, but the show must go on. The show must go on.
Yes, there are a lot of people also asking that is Manchester City rather paying for a poor recruitment decision. Should they have let go some players and bring in new players? Is this about Pep Guardiola repaying loyalty of those players? We'll talk about all of that on the show today as well. And Slots, he responded to Mohamed Salah's talk, and he says maybe Mohamed Salah knows more about the 115 charges that maybe you think Manchester City will not be here next season. He's getting a lot of backlash. Man City fans are not taking it easy. We'll also talk about on the show today. Well, he said it's a joke. It's a big joke.
Like that. Because if he did have if he does have memory, he would have remembered that when Arteta made similar gesture, Arteta was on the radar and he had to come clarify. You don't have to put yourself in that position, considering that you are currently on top of the table. You don't want any drama. You don't want any, because one of the things that has made Ansel Slots, successful so far this season is the fact that there have been little attention to Liverpool.
They're just getting things done on the low key.
The attention has been more on Arsenal and Manchester City, and this time around he's trying to turn up the heat, but perhaps it's just part of the mind game, just to take the it away from Salah, because Salah should not have even made mention of the talk after the game in the press conference, saying that he's not sure that this might be his last. If he knows that he wants a contract, go upstairs, go and talk to your executives.
But I think he's going to get a year deal.
Even regardless of, I think it's becoming unnecessary. I think it's becoming an unnecessary soap opera of having to listen to Salah talking about his contract week in, week out. You are training with your team. It's in the same. If you want to see the executive, reach out to the executive. Let the executive know your grievances, but you cannot keep on talking. It's not even putting you in a bright light. It's not making you, because you've been there for how many years? For 10 years, if I'm not mistaken, for 9-8 years. You can't keep on putting your team at the lights. On every chance you get, you want to talk about your contract. If you did want the contract, go get it. And if you don't want to renew your contract,
walk away.
You
because by January he has the right to.
After playing a beautiful football at Anfield against Manchester City, you would expect him to talk about the game itself.
No,
you don't have to
talk about his contract,
especially when you're just coming off the back of talking about the contract a week before, and you are still talking about the same contract, trying to take away the attention away from the brilliant football your team played and putting the attention on you. And to me, I just see him as an attention seeker.
Well, let's see how it goes. When we get back, I will take the opinion of a proper Liverpool fan in the studio, and I kind of have an idea of what Agbatomi will say. But hey, let's take a quick break. Let's pay some bills. I would also had members of the Nigerian Rugby League, and of course, assistant captain of the Nigerian national rugby team, of course. They were with us earlier in the day on Sport Jams. We'll also talk about the development of the sport as he makes a steady entrance into the sporting fraternity in Nigeria. A lot of us are used to football, maybe athletics, maybe a little of tennis here and there. A lot of people don't even know that we have over 30 associations right here in Nigeria. We have handball, volleyball, taekwondo, swimming, table tennis, judo, rugby, cricket. We have all of those associations under the Ministry of Sports, and they're also getting
under Sports Commission.
Thank you, under Sports Commission, and they're also getting budget approved every year. But what are they doing with those budgets? We'll be right back.
You're listening to Mainland 98.3 FM. The sound of Lagos. Chai, my head oh. Oga landlord, why you dey shake like ceiling fan? My village people don't come again oh.
this one with your body hot so. You don't do test?
Yes, see result oh.
Oga landlord, no be your village people. Na malaria, you need Luta. Luta na better medicine wey dey knack down malaria. Oya see am, take am.
Hey, thank you Oga Luta. I don't dey kampe.
Luta, brand of Artemether and Lumefantrine, is another quality product from Hovid, marketed by Pharmatex Nigeria Limited. If symptoms persist after 3 days, see your doctor.
Everybody say thanks, Luta. Malaria's in big trouble. You started your day with a click. Devices in hand working swiftly. With every click comes a risk inside. And one day, they all shut down. But the HMS is the answer. HMO for your devices. With your e-card, you get premium services. The HMS everywhere you go.
Get DHMS, the HMO for your devices from IT Service Desk Africa, the first subscription-based device health support service in Nigeria. Enjoy comprehensive IT and roaming support, data security, and maintenance of all your devices. Call 070-799-35788 or visit itservicedeskafrica.com to get started.
For every 6 shares I hold, I get one more.
What are you doing?
I am counting the numbers I get from over 5 billion shares. FBN Holdings is giving existing shareholders the chance to buy more shares at 25 naira each. This means that you can get one new one for every 6 you own. Don't miss out. Own a share of tomorrow with FBN Holdings rights issue. The offer opens from the 4th November to 12th December 2024. Visit your stockbroker or any First Bank branch to get started. You can also access the offer directly on your First mobile banking app. FBN Holdings. Own your share of tomorrow.
Hey there! Yes, you! You just won 5,000 naira cash! And you, sitting by the side, there's 1 month Showmax subscription to watch the Premier League waiting for you! You behind! Of course! You're not left out! How does 1,000 naira airtime and 2,000 naira Uber discount sound? All this could come true when you buy the No Unwrap and Win pack. Open it, look for a cube with a 6-digit code on its wrapper, text the code to 8011 and follow the prompts to stand a chance to win any of these instant prizes. Promo valid from July till December. Terms and conditions apply. Get extra value on the No Unwrap and Win pack. No, eat for good.
You started your day with a click. Devices in hand working swiftly. With every click comes a risk inside. And one day, they all shut down. But the HMS is the answer. HMO for your devices. With your e-card, you get premium services. The HMS everywhere you go.
Get DHMS, the HMO for your devices from IT Service Desk Africa, the first subscription-based device health support service in Nigeria. Enjoy comprehensive IT and roaming support, data security, and maintenance of all your devices. Call 070-799-35788 or visit itservicedeskafrica.com to get started.
For every 6 shares I hold, I get one more.
What are you doing?
I am counting the numbers I get from over 5 billion shares. FBN Holdings is giving existing shareholders the chance to buy more shares at 25 naira each. This means that you can get one new one for every 6 you own. Don't miss out. Own a share of tomorrow with FBN Holdings rights issue. The offer opens from the 4th November to 12th December 2024. Visit your stockbroker or any First Bank branch to get started. You can also access the offer directly on your First mobile banking app. FBN Holdings. Own your share of tomorrow.
Hey there! Yes, you! You just won 5,000 naira cash! And you, sitting by the side, there's 1 month Showmax subscription to watch the Premier League waiting for you! You behind! Of course! You're not left out! How does 1,000 naira airtime and 2,000 naira Uber discount sound? All this could come true when you buy the No Unwrap and Win pack. Open it, look for a cube with a 6-digit code on its wrapper, text the code to 8011 and follow the prompts to to stand a chance to win any of these instant prizes. Promo valid from July till December. Terms and conditions apply. Get extra value on the Knorr Unwrap and Win Pack. Knorr, eat for good.
àti pé fún ìdíkòwò mẹ́fà tí mo ti ní mo ní àǹfààní ẹyọ kan sí i.
ewu lẹ ń gbèsìrò lè báyìí.
mo ń ṣe òǹkà iye tí mo lè ní nínú ìdíkòwò bílíọ̀nù márùn-ún ni nítorí ABN Holdings ìtẹ́pẹpẹ ìdíkòwò fún àwọn tó jẹ́ onípín ìdíkòwò wọn lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́. èyí dá sí pé àwọn tó ti ní ìpín wọn lọ́wọ́ báyìí ní àǹfààní láti ní ìpín kan sí i lórí ìpín mẹ́fà tí wọ́n ti ní ìpín ọjọ́ ọ̀la pẹ̀lú ABN Holdings. ìpín ìdókòwò yìí ìdókòwò bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní ọjọ́ 4 oṣù kọkànlá di ọjọ́ 12 oṣù kejìlá ọdún 2024. kàn sáwọn olùṣòwò ìpín ìdíkòwò rẹ tàbí ẹ̀ka ilé ìfowópamọ́ First Bank. bákan náà ni o lè ra ìpín rẹ lórí First Mobile app rẹ. ABN Holdings ní ìpín nínú ọjọ́ ọ̀la.
You're listening to Mainland 98.3 FM. The sound of Lagos.
Hello, my name is Godwin Enoch and I'm a broadcast journalist. Yes, my friend will tell me that I am a sport administrator by accident. Listen every day of the weekday to Sports Cruise on Mainland FM. God bless you.
If you make you mine, oh. Give your love in every life, you make you mad, oh. Now only you give me love and make me nice, oh, nice, oh, nice, oh. I feel make you mine, oh. Girl, I love you, plus I never make you mine, oh. If I let you smoke it, you gon' lose my lighter. If you paranoid, then I'ma spend the night, oh. I get that love in every day. Time I dance with you with my money, I go pay. For your love, I go pay, it ain't make it my DJs, oh, I feel when you call, run it back on replay. For your love, I go pay. For your love, I go play. Make a psycho, make a traffic psycho. Baby, every night I go drive me psycho. Every duty done, they make me mad. Make you sing to the mic. Be my queen, girl, you are that looking in your eyes. Oh, show you many things you can utilize. Oh, if I say I love you, then I tell you like so. Show you everything when I get to nice, oh. True that make you utilize, oh. Yeah, when we taste the way go revive, oh. Give you many things.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we say you should call us every day to serve you hot, spicy, and juicy sports stories from around the world. Call me every day, Chris Brown featuring Wizkid. Wizkid is really everywhere right now. His Mariah album is breaking all of the charts and getting all of the numbers. What a time to be alive. Welcome back to Sports Cruise Live on Mainland 98.3 FM. Well, Agbatomi is here. Akintayo is also here. Akintayo is healing. I hope he heals fast. They did him sᴏᴏ.
I really don't want to laugh.
I know. I understand. Don't add to his situation.
No, that's why we are here. That's why we are here. We have to
roll the batter. Who cares? We're streaming live on facebook.com/mainland 98.3 FM. And of course, I will also streaming on YouTube. I just search for Mainland FM on YouTube, and you can watch us live, see what we look like in the studio, and also drop your comment. Agbatomi, let me get straight up into you. I know the title race is not over, but it's Manchester City's defense over?
No, Okwemi. This was the same thing we talked about yesterday. And I'm going to still give the same response I gave yesterday, Okwemi. Yes, sorry. At the 2020-2021 season.
That's COVID.
That was after COVID.
No, that was after
that
COVID.
was the season after COVID. After Liverpool won the Premier League. Liverpool also had a similar run of form of Kwemi. And guess what? Manchester City, at that point in time, we were seated ninth. But they had a game in hand. In the English Premier League. But it's still the same 11 points difference.
But they had a game in hand.
Forget the game in hand. The difference, the same thing. The point is still the same thing, Okwemi. Whether they had the game in hand or not, Okwemi, trust me. If Liverpool loses the next 3 games in the English Premier League, and Manchester City also wins the next 3 games in the English Premier League, they will be cutting the points down to 2 points. So what exactly are we talking about, Okwemi?
Akintayo.
It is, and just like we say, it is a marathon. It is not a sprint.
Akintayo, There are elements that makes Man City special.
It's Man City.
There is Kevin De Bruyne, fantastic player. And there is Rodri that had always been present. There's also Julian Alvarez, which I find is sales one of the most unimaginable decisions that I've seen. He's basically saying, you know what, Haaland, you can do everything. You can play all the Champions League matches. You are fit enough to play all the Premier League games. You are fit enough to play all of the Cup games. Look at what Julian Alvarez is doing with Atletico Madrid right now. But the elements that makes Man City special, 𝐴kintayo, do they still have it? No, a lot of people have said, hey, if this was Arsenal, this will have said, but do they still have that element that makes them special?
No, they don't. If you could recall, Alvarez wanted to leave in as much as the club wanted to keep him. But one thing Guardiola does not do is get in the way of players.
It doesn't.
If as much as they try to convince you to stay and you demand,
I never have a problem letting him. When you knew he was leaving. Replacement.
For the past 2 seasons, Manchester City's recruitment has been terrible. It has been very terrible, and the only reason why it has been masked is because of Pep Guardiola and what the players currently, because most of the players were fit. Now, when you look at what's happening this season, they don't have a standardized left back, someone that is a traditional left back. They don't have anyone. The right back they have, the only one that they have is already aging, and to be honest, he is out of his prime, or perhaps maybe his personal issues is getting him really over him, and that's Kyle Walker. When you look at the other option, who do they have? They just have Akanji. Is Akanji a traditional right back? He's not. When you look at the left back, they have Akizaki, a traditional left back. No. Vardiol, we knew Vardiol as a centre back. He came into Manchester City. It was, when you have players like that, they can only be a makeshift replacement. They are not a long-term replacement. I think he's paying for their lack of recruitment. When you look at this season, look at the players they brought in this season. They brought in Savinho. What has Savinho brought? Savinho is just a play. It reminds me of a certain Ousmane Dembele that whenever he's with the ball, you have the belief that something is going to happen. But trust me, nothing will eventually happen, and that is what it does. When you look at the midfield, they were lucky to still have Kovacic after the injury to Rodri. But after Kovacic had injury, who came into who else comes in? Nobody. When you look at the midfield and what has been the engine room for Pep Guardiola across all the 3 clubs he has managed, it has always been the midfield. Guardiola has often been quoted some time ago that he can play with 10 midfielders if he's allowed to. He can play with 10 midfielders. And when you look at the midfield, no replacement for Rodri, no replacement for Kovacic. Bernardo Silva is already aging. De Bruyne is already aging. Who else? Good one is just Rico Lewis is not that player yet. Perhaps maybe in the future he might still be in that player, but not. What has actually helped Manchester City in previous seasons is that their front 3 are guaranteed to get double digits of goals, and sometimes they get a very reasonable number in terms of assists. The best player of the Premier League last season, Phil Foden, he has yet to find the net this season in the Premier League. In as much as he has found the net in Europe, but he has not yet found the net in England. Now, when you look at the defense, they keep on having injury upon injury. They are sometimes will be fit. Stones sometimes will come in.
I'm coming. I can allow you build all of these narratives, but I always tell people. Yes, I would always tell people the reason why you have from May to August to buy players is because you can buy players.
Yeah.
The reason why you have January, that's mid-season transfer window, is because you should buy players.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to. I understand that injuries are part of the game. Wow.
We're talking about the recruitment.
So
I'm not talking about the injuries.
If Manchester City are having their dominance checked this way, is it that they've been found out, or
absolutely
Pep Guardiola is just repaying loyalty to those players? Because I still don't understand what 𝐴kintayo came back to Manchester City to do.
Well, loyalty, respect,
It doesn't win you games. Those are emotions.
At the beginning of the season, I made mention of something, and 𝐴kintayo was, he laughed it out. I said something. There is a point you get to, or there is a certain level of success you attain that it gets boring, and then if you don't regroup, if you don't try as much as possible to go back to the drawing board, and you think can just keep going the same way you've been going, then you're going to be getting it all wrong. At the beginning of this season, we all made mention of the fact that Manchester City had a thin squad. They had a very, very thin squad. They sold Julian Alvarez.
I think we just got carried away with the fact that they were winning.
They were winning, exactly.
Look at the size of the squad.
We look at the size of the squad.
They never really had anything major.
Apart from Rodri is the only fit defensive midfielder in that team. All other midfielders are all center midfielders or attacking midfielders.
Maybe John Stone coming in to play that role.
They were just three centre backs. That's Akanji,
Nathan Ake,
Ruben Diaz, as well as what's his name now? John Stones. Now Vadio as well as Ake were earmarked for the left back position.
But they've sometimes been drafted in, and Nathan Ake is mostly injured.
But they are both naturally centre backs. At right back, there's only Kyle Walker, who is the only right back. Matheus Nunes in midfield. We also had Gundogan, who also came back from Barcelona. We also had what's his name now, Rodri as well. Kevin De Bruyne.
Man City don't exactly have a big size.
They don't have a big squad.
They don't have a large squad.
They only have Doku as well as Grealish as left winger.
Listen, guys, Grealish have not scored a single
in
goal in 2024. He had not. In fact, over 400 days no goal as a winger, £100 million winger.
Okay, how do you go into a season from
when
August?
You're defending your title.
Not even that. From August to May, and then you are going into that season with just one centre forward.
It's disturbing.
How do you get to do that?
It's really disturbing.
Against Liverpool, Pep Guardiola overthought that game. Number one, he took out Ederson. Number two, instead of him starting Doku as well as Savio from the off, get them on the off. He played Matheus Nunes, a midfielder.
You can never claim that he was overthinking. These are players that
Pep does. You and I know that
he does that a lot, especially in big games.
We agree that Pep does that a lot. But guess what, we are going into December where there are tons of fixtures. Now when you look at Doku,
tons of fixtures.
That conversation does not happen. No. You have to win your games,
especially against Liverpool.
Okpemi, regardless of wherever they are playing, these are players that are just coming back off injury. If you could remember the last time Doku kicked a ball was against the Portuguese side. That was him coming. I guess how many minutes he played? He played less than 10 minutes. When he came into the Champions League, he played less than 15 or 20 minutes
in a defeat.
Okpemi.
So it comes to the
in a draw. Now going
against Feyenoord.
Now going into this game, Okpemi is trying to manage. When you look at Saville, that's always been chopping off injury and coming in. I'm not making excuses for him, but I'm trying to say the reason why they are not starting is because he's managing their minutes for the fixtures that to come. See, everyone knew that regardless of whoever Pep decides to play in Anfield on Sunday, they are going to collect. It was about the numbers they were going to collect.
That defeat was never a certainty, Akintayo. I disagree with that.
That's a lie.
You never know what Manchester City will turn up to a game against
Liverpool. You are lying to yourself. You are saying you never know Manchester City before. If you have won Manchester City before that game,
guys,
if you have won Manchester City for the past 7-8 games,
you can
before that game,
what
it's also obvious
that they stand no chance against
Liverpool. In the last 7 years, Manchester City up against Liverpool has been the biggest fixture in the Premier League.
Last 7 years, is it the caliber of players that you have then that you have now?
You say Manchester City were going to lose that game against Liverpool.
No.
I disagree with that.
I disagree. The only reason why you can make mention of 7-8 years is if the Manchester City that are playing now were the Manchester City that started the season. If you are talking about the Manchester City that played the last,
players.
Is it the same players? Is it
the same Rodri that is playing? Is it the same Walker that is playing? Are you talking? Is it?
Okay, I mean, a perfect example. When
last has Pep decided to bench Henderson? The reason why Pep decided to bench him because Henderson has been horrendous for the past few games.
They considered 19 goals.
He benched Henderson last season against Tottenham. He didn't have to win.
He didn't bench him because you are capping.
He didn't bench him.
You are capping. You don't know it. You are capping.
Stop shouting.
You are capping. You are saying he benched him.
Remember your dream is your only scheme, so keep on pushing.
Order in the court. Let there be peace. Where's my shekere? Order in the court. Ladies and gentlemen, let us leave Man City. It looks like Man City Liverpool will turn my.
I think that was really hot tonight.
Yeah, I told you he's healing. He's healing. He's in a very sensitive position. And you also see whether I would like it or not. I'm not sure if the Premier League title is over, but you look at the next run of fixtures for Manchester City. This is not a perfect time, guy. Let's be sincere with ourselves.
They are playing Nottingham Forest.
They play Nottingham Forest, a very unpredictable Nottingham Forest, and they'll play both of those games away from home.
Yes, and guess what? Even when they were at the peak of their powers, Nottingham Forest
struggled against Nottingham Forest. They took point off them last season.
Even before Pep Guardiola came into the Premier League, Manchester City in recent seasons have always found it difficult to win at
Crystal Palace, Selhurst Park.
See, Okoyemi, I'm not making excuses for Pep, but all I'm saying is their recruitment has been terrible for the past 2 seasons, and this season it has been evident because guess what? The players are aging, and when the players are aging, you need to bring in someone to revitalize the gap.
A team that is aging gives this aura of predictability. You know that this is how this person will play.
We have seen Bernardo Silva keep on making mistakes
over and over again. You know what he's going to do with the ball.
Pep Guardiola rarely decides to change. Even when he was in Barcelona, when he had Victor Valdés and he had Pinto in Barcelona,
it is Valdés.
Regardless, but we saw how horrendous he was against Feyenoord. He was legit responsible for 2 goals. The last one, he came out almost 50 yards away from his goal,
and he missed the ball.
So you cannot, and this is not a time where you need to gamble. You know, they needed that win. People talk about how they needed that win against Feyenoord. They did not get that win, and see, Ortega did not do really bad that game. Aside from the penalty, which was very unfortunate. He made a couple of saves. He made himself very big and made Salah to take 1 or 2 touches that he could have actually bet on a normal day. We know Ortega is cool and calm in goal, but when it comes to Pep, when it comes to Manchester City being found out, I don't think it's about Manchester City being found out. I believe that Manchester City, all they need right now, they are struggling for breath. It's not about how better they can eat. It is about if they can survive. If Manchester City can get a decent run of fixtures from now before January transfer window, all they need is just to get a better because even Kovacic is not a traditional 6. Kovacic is an 8. He's a player that prefers to be a box-to-box midfielder. He's a player that prefers to be more on the offensive. You don't want to see Kovacic making tackles because when he makes tackles, he allows more pressure on his team and he makes silly tackles and get unnecessary cards. Now they need a player that can be in that 6th position. And guess what? In as much as Foden is not getting the back of the net, in as much as Bernardo Silva has not even been getting the back of the net, in as much as Haaland has not been, because sometimes Haaland, normally when you see Haaland, he gets 3 or 4 touches in the box, he converts 2 or 3 of the 4. Now, even we saw against Tottenham, we saw how many chances he got, we saw how many he was able to put away, none. And now they need all their chips because the chips are currently down, and they need not just the fans. The players themselves need to believe that they need to get away from the imposter syndrome. They need to believe that they can do this because the way it's looking currently, see, I won't be surprised if they keep on digging. They'll just keep on digging.
I hope they will not find oil if they continue to dig.
The luck they have this season is the fact that it is 5 that are going to the Champions League from England this time around.
Exactly, yes.
Coefficiency.
Yeah.
Maybe they might get the luck, but like I said,
it's going to be tough.
I don't see
this Chelsea team finishing out of the top 4.
I don't believe that we should be talking about Manchester City in terms of the title race. Like I said, all they need, they are struggling for breath. Let them get the wins first.
Pep Guardiola. Let's move on. Pep Guardiola feels if his players come back, they can still pick things, but it depends on what you meet on ground. I'm looking at this Liverpool side and I'm thinking, who can stop Liverpool? They've defeated Chelsea, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
They've beaten Manchester United. Yeah. They've gotten a draw at Arsenal. They've also beaten Manchester City. Although, apart from Arsenal, that will be going to the Anfield, I think of course Manchester City as well. The other top games is Liverpool going to the other stadium. They will still go to Stamford Bridge.
Well.
Manchester United would also become. See, I'm talking of.
There's still Tottenham. There's still Tottenham against Liverpool. The two legs.
Two legs. So I mean, you're just looking at it, and Liverpool can be very funny. Although it looks like since after the loss to Nottingham Forest, there was a certain real weakness. So Liverpool are not just winning; they're not conceding goals. They play against Southampton. They conceded 2. They played against Madrid and Man City, and they kept clean sheet in those 2 games, and they don't even have their number 1 choice goalkeeper in goal right now. So it looks like it's a team that can get better. There's still Federico Chiesa that was brought in from Juventus. He's still not in the team yet. He would also make that team get better.
He's a sick bay prefect.
Yeah. And it is easy for you to maintain a momentum when you have the rhythm going for you. They're topping the Champions League, they're topping the Premier League, they're winning games without conceding goals. Their players are fit, they're not injured. They're trying to put body and soul together. And I just look at this Liverpool side and I'm asking, I think the only person that can stop Liverpool this season is Liverpool themselves. I'm not even thinking Arsenal can. I think it's Liverpool themselves that can choose to have some run of.
I believe Arsenal will be a very good challenger.
Maybe if Arsenal cannot bully Manchester City, perhaps Arsenal will be licking their tongue and say, you know what, those run of games that we had and we messed up.
They've had Arsenal themselves have had decent good run for the past 3 games.
Arsenal scored 13 goals in the last 1 week. So they scored 4.
They scored 5 against West Ham. They scored 4 against.
They started out with 3 against Nottingham Forest, 4 against Sporting, and 5 against West Ham. Yeah. So I think there's just still a whole lot around the English Premier League. But if you look at Manchester United, for instance, they're also gradually building some momentum. There are 5 points between Manchester City and Manchester United as we speak. That's what I'm coming to. If Manchester United gets a result against Arsenal tomorrow, it pushes their morale to the highest level.
That was what I talked about before Amorim came in. I said when you look at the title, when you look at the league table, the points difference is not quite much. So I fancied the manager coming in to at least get them to
let's
Europe.
See how close he can take them.
I didn't even say Chelsea, but to Europe. But I'll be disappointed if Manchester United do not qualify for Europe next season.
It's crazy how predictions can change because a new manager comes up. You wouldn't have said the same thing you just said now under retired, right?
Because the way the ship was going, they see, it was so certain they will hit the iceberg.
They had only one win in 8 games. It was certain
they will hit the iceberg, and they just had to just turn the corner, and they did.
And they did
fully well.
They did. Okay, guys, and it's not just Manchester United turning the corners. Their big players are turning up. I hope that Bruno Fernandes would be able to play tomorrow. If he won't be able to play,
it's going to be a really big miss.
It's going to be a big miss for them because they're already missing Kobe Mino and what's this defender Martinez. Both of them are suspended for tomorrow's game against Arsenal. If they don't have Bruno Fernandes, it is going to be a big miss. But they've got a certain Zexi, 2 goals in the last game. Rashford also 3 goals in the last 4 games.
Also Mason Mount.
There's Mason Mount also getting into the mix. There's Amad Diallo also getting all of the assists. Garnacho seems to be silent. He seems to be a big game player. He knows how to steal the spotlight. Let's see how the game tomorrow would go. Let's talk boxing. Daniel Dubois is set to defend his IBF heavyweight title against Joseph Parker. Remember Joseph Parker, the man Anthony Joshua beat over 2 games. Joseph Parker following Anthony Joshua's decision not to pursue a rematch against Daniel Dubois. The British boxer
he knows what's in store for you.
It will be the end of the road, like boys to men. The British boxer will go head to head with the New Zealander on February 22nd in Saudi Arabia as part of an impressive lineup. Dubois, age 27, triumphed over Joshua in September, cementing his status as the IBF champion after having promoted from interim title holder. The victory has left Joshua's career hanging in the balance. Although there were other plans for an immediate rematch, Joshua's team decided that they will not be ready by February. Joshua now waits the results of Tyson's rematch versus WBO, WBC, and WBA champion Alexander Usyk on December 21st before deciding on his next move. If Tyson suffers a second defeat by Usyk, Joshua could potentially face him. However, Dubois isn't waiting around and he would risk his title against champion Parker. It's going to be an interesting one. But quickly, guys, I'm not the type that feels we should talk people into retirement. I feel people that have been to that top level, they've earned the right to leave when they choose to leave.
But you can also
look at Lewis Hamilton, for instance. A lot of people felt, he should leave. Right now that Mark Verstappen has dominated 4 seasons on the bounce in the championship, You look at Serena Williams when she really wanted to equal Margaret Court's open record of 23 Champions League. She kept losing. Naomi Osaka, younger players. A lot of people felt she should leave. Roger Federer, now Rafael Nadal had left, and Demure. A lot of people always say that, hey, you need to learn to live when the ovation is loudest. How loud can Anthony Joshua's ovation get, Akintayo? Should he leave?
When you look at, if you know the nitty-gritty of boxing, you have to realize that sometimes it's about chess. It's like a chess game, you know. You just to me, the way I see it, appears that sometimes you just be like, when you look at, you just take your time and look at the fixtures, try and see who and who can beat who, so you can decide to pitch your tent against someone that you feel that you have an advantage over. And I believe that's what Anthony Joshua is just currently doing. It's still relatively young. You can't really say he's too old. He's just in his early 30s. You know, it's just those that he has been fighting in recent times just have superior firepower over him. It's not as if maybe he has been totally terrible. He's just not just getting the moment. You know, he has just been fighting against a better fighter. And if he decides to go against Usyk or Tyson, depending on whoever comes out of there, it's going to tell a lot. And I think the real reason why he's not deciding to go to pursue another rematch is, I think there's a self-doubt in it, or perhaps he just don't want to risk it all for now. Maybe he wants to get a very good decent run of bouts. Maybe gets 2 or 3 wins,
get his mojo up, then
exactly,
see how it goes.
Maybe, you know what, next
but
year,
the category, I mean, that category don't wait, because there are not too many people in there. If you look at Parker, for instance, you look at Usyk, you look at Fury, you look at Joshua, you look at Du Bois, you look at what's this guy that defeated Joshua, and then Joshua defeated him again almost immediately. I'll try to remember his name now. Yeah, the Mexican, Andy Ruiz. I mean, you look at that category, they don't have too many people there. That's why, since the Klitschko brothers left, there's been a lot of, you know,
back and forth
changing movement here. There was a time AJ had 4 titles. He had to let go of one. Usyk also had 4 titles. He had to make the IBF title available. That was what was on the line for Joshua and Du Bois.
At the point, 3 at 3.
Exactly. A lot of people are saying, you know what? Joshua would certainly not be able to get up into that mix against Usyk. He's going to get badly beat. Against Fury, he's going to be more of the money because of the fact that they're both British fighters. He's avoiding Du Bois for obvious reasons.
He's also avoiding Deontay Wilder.
He's also avoiding Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder can be a beast, even though sometimes he comes so underwhelming. I don't know what else AJ should fight for. Agbatomi, I'm not, like I said at the start, I'm not the type that pushes people to walk away. But sometimes it's boxing. You know when to say goodbye.
That's just the thing. And you know, whenever your body starts to give you the signs, you just have to leave the sport.
I don't even think it's about the body for AJ. It looks strong. Maybe it's about the number of losses he's had in the last 5 games.
It's about the mental side of things. To be honest, Okwemi, you know the boxing fans, right? You know, I've already earmarked some boxers already in the past that these are the fighters that you don't want to mess with. The likes of Deontay Wilder, the likes of Tyson Fury.
I don't rate Wilder into that category.
No, come on.
Overrated.
Did you see the way you think
he's overrated? Okay, I mean, you think he's overrated, but trust me, you don't want to mess with Wilder. The game between Tyson Fury and Wilder that was beaten.
I still believe Fury won both bouts.
I think so too. I
still believe that the King won both bouts.
I think even the second fight that ended in a draw was a clearer win even than the first fight.
It ended in unification, by the way.
I mean, it was... Boy! Tyson Fury is the best. He's the best body bag in boxing.
That's how
he can take everything he wants to take.
It reminds me of Floyd Mayweather as well.
I think Mayweather is more charismatic. I think Usyk just caught Fury.
Usyk Fury, right? That's Tyson Fury.
Yes, I think Usyk caught Fury on his prime. Usyk came into that game with a lot of anger, probably because of the trash talking that Fury had made, and then he knew what he wanted to do. Before it, I'm going to be sincere, guys. I thought Fury was going to win that game. But then I looked at the way Usyk was all through the game. He was everywhere, running Fury all through the rings, and he was delivering those nerve-wracking punches at the time that it mattered the most. And I was even surprised that, Fury could survive that long. I think the classification in boxing, the heavyweight category, does not have too many challengers because the other fighters in the lower categories are not ready to step up.
They know what is in store.
Nobody wants to fight.
Nobody wants to put body.
You don't want to step up from maybe middleweight or lightweight, and then your first fight is against your career will end. So everybody, exactly. Everybody's trying to look at, okay, let's see how weak the people in that category can be. Let's see, maybe we can look at the fighters that are in the number 9, the ones that are on the edge of leaving the top 10. Let's see how. So the boys are not coming up.
It looks like Anthony Joshua is now the new scapegoat to be, because a lot of people
everybody
wants to fight with him.
On him.
Daniel Dubois came into the fold. He defeated him. Francis Ngannou as one were there to turn to boxing professionally, although that was a different case entirely.
See, as you're talking, I just get the picture that came to my mind.
What picture was
Anthony
that?
Joshua and Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois won that fight from the first round.
From the first round. From the first minute,
the first minute is part of the first round. He already delivered the devastating punch in about, I think, like 1 minute 18 seconds into that fight.
It was on the ground.
He knew it was done and dusted. I feel so bad for AJ. He's done so well for himself. I mean, well, sometimes you need to learn to say goodbye. Let's get back to football. Games tonight. We talked about the game between Enugu Rangers and Enyimba at the Enyimba International Stadium in Abadan. Goalless. 2 goals were, rightfully removed for Enyimba, because I just read the review of the game right now, and they said the officiating was really good. I know it's a game that would take a lot of sizing up, because we're talking about 2 former champions and it's a derby, it's an Orient derby, arguably the biggest game in the Southeast in the Nigerian Premier Football League any day, anytime. So in the Premier League tonight, Ipswich Town will be hosting Crystal Palace by 8:30, and by 9:15, Leicester City at the King's Power Stadium. 2 teams that got badly beat over the weekend. Leicester City lost by 4-1 to Brentford.
This is going to be the first match of Van
Nistelrooy's first game at home at the King's Power Stadium. And also, West Ham lost at home by 2-5 against Arsenal. Both of them will be seeking a redemption tonight by 7 p.m. And in the next 12 minutes or thereabouts, Mallorca will be hosting, fumbling and wobbling at Barcelona. I hope they're able to get a result
is back to
in that game. Of course, even if he's not fit, they have to find him.
With the team that they've started, the Hansi Flick has said they should be winning this game.
There have had teams that they've struggled this game with, my friend. And it looks like they're good when they play the big teams, and they struggle when they play the relatively smaller teams. Well, there's Real Avila for Spanish Copa del Rey round 2 against Real Valladolid. There's El Yelcano versus Elche. There's Espanyol versus Barbastros. There's Real Zaragoza versus Granada. Salamanca versus Celta Vigo, and CE Europa versus Las Palmas. Goalless. There's AC Milan versus Sassuolo for 9 p.m. And of course, in the DFB Cup in Germany round of 16, there's Arminia Bielefeld versus Freiburg. There's Jan Rettersteg versus VfB Stuttgart. The big game, Bayern Munich versus Bayer Leverkusen.
Big one.
This one came in too early. There's Werder Bremen versus Darmstadt as well. Those are the games that we'll be witnessing in the major leagues tonight. Osasuna played a 1-1 draw against Sevilla yesterday. Atalanta defeated AS Roma by 2-0. The return of Claudio Ranieri is not going well so far. He's yet to win a game since he came back into that particular one. Atalanta defeated them by 2-0 at the Stadio Olimpico. Well, those are the games that were decided in the major leagues across Europe yesterday. So let's also quickly look at other stories that we are monitoring. Okay, let's quickly talk about Manchester United. I can tell you, the redemption is looking good. Coincidentally, a couple of the injured players are also coming back. Euro could be back in the side tomorrow if Bruno Fernandes does not play. But you imagine that Arsenal midfield, and you see how difficult it could be for Euro tomorrow. There's also Luke Shaw is back in the side, but there's not going to be Kobe Mainoo tomorrow. There's most likely not going to have their captain Bruno Fernandes. You guys call him Bruno Fernandes. I don't know where that's coming from.
That's his correct.
Whatever, man. Whatever. And of course, they're not going to be having one of their best defenders when he's fit and good to go in Martinez. How big is tomorrow's game for a manager that's got so much responsibilities on his shoulder, the youngest manager to coach Manchester United on a permanent basis in Ruben Amorim? And of course, he started well. In the Europa League, he's still unbeaten. In the Premier League also, he's still unbeaten. 4-0 against Everton. But you look at some of the goals Everton conceded, you probably not get those kind of loss in concentration from defense from Arsenal tomorrow. But how big a game would that be for Ruben Amorim and Akintayo?
Well, I believe the game will be bigger for Arteta than Amorim. This is, and why do I say so? Is because he needs to know that he needs to keep up with the gap with Liverpool, because with the way Liverpool are going, Liverpool might end up running away with the title, because he knows that if there should be any lapses, if there's any drop of 2 points or 3, it's going to be an extension of the lead, which means it's going to be difficult to take on this current Liverpool side. And why do I say that is much bigger for Arteta than Amorim? If Amorim lose tomorrow, it's still not going to be of a big deal, in as much as the rivalry is there for Manchester United and against Arsenal. But when you look at for the managers who would want this game the most, and I trust me when I tell you that the person that wants this game the most is Arteta.
Okay, let's quickly pick some calls. We'll also read some of your messages. We're streaming live on facebook.com/mainland 98.3 FM. It's Sports Crew 6 to 7 p.m. every Monday to Friday. And of course, 0913-600-0410. Agbatomi. The games tomorrow, there's Everton versus Wolves at 8:30 p.m. at the Goodison Park. There's Manchester City at the Etihad Stadium against Nottingham Forest. There's Newcastle
against
at
Liverpool.
the St. James's Park against Liverpool. That's going to be a tough test for Liverpool. Let's talk to Uche. You're welcome, Uche. Good to have you on the show.
So, talking about Liverpool. For me, I will not surprise this season if Liverpool lose this Premier League.
Why you talk so?
Bad belly people.
Because one match now, everywhere don't scatter.
Everywhere scatter.
Like tomorrow game now against Newcastle.
It's a tricky game.
For Liverpool. Not easy. I will not surprise if Liverpool even go trophy loss this season. Because this Premier League, Man is going to win this season Premier League. Trust me. That's my hope.
You say what?
Wait, Uche, where are you at the moment? Uche has gone. I wanted to be sure that he's standing alone, because that statement you just made, you might need some moral support. Well, it's going to be a tricky game actually for Liverpool away at Newcastle. Because I'm sure Newcastle would not want to have back-to-back losses at home.
Exactly.
West Ham United defeated them on Monday. West Ham lost over the weekend. Newcastle as well, in and out. They've just been a bit inconsistent. One moment they are flying, but against Liverpool tomorrow at St. James's Park, who needs the game the most?
It's going to be very difficult to play me. Newcastle, just like you mentioned, have not really been on a good run of games. The last game as well, Alexander Isak had to be, brought out. There's a doubt that he's going to be playing this game, so that means that there's probably going to be Anthony Gordon up there as well. They'll try much as well.
And I like Gordon.
Yeah, they'll try much as well.
He's
a pacey and tricky player, so I think it's going to be a handful for the Liverpool defense. But if you also take a look at the same game that also took place last season at St. James's Park, at a point Liverpool got the red card. That was Virgil van Dijk that got the red card due to a foul on Alexander Isak, and incredible save from Alisson in that particular game as well. Last season it could have been up to 5-0, but Alisson kept Liverpool in the game until Darwin Núñez had to come back and then get 2 goals in that particular game. So it's going to be a very, very big game, especially at the St. James's Park. You never know which Newcastle side is going to turn up in this particular game.
How unpredictable
that's how unpredictable that.
Other games also tomorrow is the season to forget for Southampton. They are struggling.
Really struggling.
They had a legitimate
but they're playing beautiful football.
I don't care, my friend.
But they're struggling.
I don't care whether you play beautiful brand of football.
They're probably the best ball playing side in the second half of the table.
Okay, they should deal with that. The table is saying otherwise. Newcastle. Okay, there's Southampton versus Chelsea tomorrow. It's going to be a very key game for Southampton as well. Over the weekend, they played a 1-1 draw, and then it looks like the official, admitted that it was a wrong call to have ruled out their second goal, giving them their second win of the season. They will be hosting high-flying Chelsea. It's crazy. The same number of points, the same number of goals scored, number of win, number of draw, number of goals considered. It's just an alphabetical
order situation. They have to keep up with us now.
And they've got to find a way to do that. And I like the fact that all of the players are calm, even the manager. Enzo Maresca said they are not ready to compete. Even
they're taking advantage of themselves.
Palmer as well. They're just getting their things done on a low kind of like that. Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium tomorrow by 9:15 against Manchester United. That's going to be a very big game. No doubt about that. One of Arsenal's biggest game of the season.
The biggest game for Ruben Amorim.
Is at the Emirates Stadium, and I'm sure that the fans would, lick their tongue on this one. I feel like, you know what, we should be able to give a good game. I think the Emirates Stadium is also one space that is gradually turning into a fortress right now. The fans make it really hostile for away teams to get point out of that, but they've lost at home this season.
Remember? Yeah, ready.
Yeah, so let's go to this one. Aston Villa versus Brentford also. The other games, beginning from Everton down to Southampton, kicks off at 8:30 tomorrow. Because you know that this is the season because of TV right and all of that. There will be late games in the Premier League. Arsenal versus Manchester United will be by 9:15, and Aston Villa versus Brentford would also be by 9:15. Big games in the Spanish La Liga tomorrow. Athletic Club Bilbao will be hosting Real Madrid. That's a big game, ladies and gentlemen, by 9 p.m. in the Copa del Rey as well. There are games between Gymnastic versus SD Huesca. There's San Andre versus Real Betis. There's Union de Salamanca versus Rayo Vallecano. There's Cadiz versus CD Eldenez. There's Leonesa versus Almeria. There's Crense versus Deportivo La Coruña. There's Racing Santander versus former La Liga Campena Sporting Gijón. There's also CD Espozona versus Leganes. There's AJ versus Valencia. There's Logroñés versus Girona. There's Pontevedra versus Villarreal. The way they do all of these things, all of the teams playing in the La Liga would always play away from home. I don't know how the Spanish league does it. All of the top teams always play each other, and they would always play away from home. So the smaller teams would always be at home. Of course, in the Coppa Italia, tomorrow there's Fiorentina versus Empoli. Guys, we've come to the end of the show. A big shout out to everyone that came through the messages. We were sorry. Tomorrow is going to be another time. I can tell. Is out already here? Okay, Agbatomi.
It's a pleasure.
Game tonight. Thank you very much for coming through as always. Good evening. I did die on 21st, and there's also 𝐴 Nigerian Igala. They say go AJ, go do us proud. Thank you very much. My name is Okwemi, the host with the most. The program returns tomorrow, same time, same station. 6 to 7 p.m. Mainland 98.3 FM. Today is Tuesday. You know what that means. By 8 p.m. there's going to be the sport banter. Don't miss that for anything in this world. I'll be back tomorrow.
Hello, my name is Godwin Enoch, and I'm a broadcast journalist. Yes, my friend will tell me that I am a sport administrator by accident. Listen every day of the weekday to Sports Cruise on Mainland FM. God bless you.